Tess is just looking for a fresh start. She's in Detroit for a career-defining job interview, but the moment she pulls up to a rental in the decaying neighborhood of Brightmoor, things feel off. The lockbox is empty, the neighborhood is a graveyard of ruined houses, and the rain is pouring down like a warning. When she sees a light on inside, she knocks, expecting a ghost. Instead, she gets Keith. He's charming, he's polite, and he's just as confused as she is. It's a classic double booking nightmare. With every hotel in the city packed for a convention, Tess ignores her gut feeling and agrees to share the house for the night. Keith takes the couch, Tess takes the bed, and for a few hours it feels like a weird but harmless story she'll tell later. But sleep doesn't come easy in a house that feels like it's breathing. In the dead of night, Tess is jolted awake by the sound of her bedroom door creaking open. She finds Keith having a violent night terror on the couch, making sounds that don't quite seem human. He swears he didn't touch her door, but the lock she clicked shut earlier is now wide open. The morning sun brings a brief sense of safety, but as Tess walks to her interview, she realizes the terrifying reality of where she is. Every single house on the block is a hollowed out shell, except for this one perfectly maintained rental. It's an island of order in a sea of chaos. Her interviewer even calls her crazy for staying there, and she's right. When Tess returns, a local homeless man named Andre tries to scream a warning at her, chasing her to the porch. She slams the door just in time, thinking she's safe inside. She has no idea she just locked herself in with a monster. Searching for something as mundane as toilet paper leads Tess into the basement. It's a simple trip down the stairs, but the moment she reaches the bottom, the door slams shut. It doesn't just close, it locks from the outside. Panic sets in, no phone, no way out, and then she sees it. A hidden rope tucked into a hole in the wall. She pulls it, and a secret door swings open, using a mirror to bounce light into the darkness. She finds a hidden room. It's not just a storage space, there's a stained mattress, a bucket, a tripod, and a bloody handprint on the wall that looks like a desperate plea for help. Keith eventually makes it home and frees her, but instead of running, he wants to investigate. He thinks it's just some weird Detroit history, but the moment he steps into the darkness behind that secret door, he stops answering. Tess, despite every survival instinct screaming at her to run, goes back down. She finds a tunnel system that shouldn't exist, stretching deep beneath the neighborhood. In the shadows, she finds Keith. He's trembling, whispering that something bit him. Before they can even process the words, a pale, towering, naked figure emerges from the gloom. It's a woman, but her proportions are all wrong, and her eyes hold a terrifying, mindless intensity. Before Keith can even scream, she grabs him and bashes his skull against the concrete until there's nothing left. While Tess is trapped in a subterranean hell, the story shifts to AJ, a Hollywood actor whose life is imploding. He's been accused of horrific abuse, his career is over, and he needs money fast. It turns out he's the owner of the house in Detroit. He flies in to prep the property for sale, completely oblivious to the bloodbath in his basement. He finds Tess's luggage and thinks he is squatters. Being the arrogant, entitled man he is, he doesn't call the police. He goes down there with a measuring tape, hoping to see if the extra square footage of the hidden basement can boost the house's value. He's literally measuring his own grave. As AJ explores the deeper tunnels, the atmosphere shifts from creepy to nauseating. He finds a room that smells like rot, where an old TV plays a looped video of a woman breastfeeding. Then, his measuring tape is yanked from his hand by something in the dark. He flees, tripping into a pit where he finds a terrified, traumatized Tess. She's been kept alive for a reason. The mother, as the creature is known, doesn't just want to kill, she wants to nurture. She brings them a filthy baby bottle filled with milk, expecting them to drink. Tess, knowing it's the only way to stay alive, forced herself to play along. But AJ, he fights back, and the mother's maternal instinct turns into pure bone-snapping rage. In the chaos, Tess manages to escape the pit and the tunnels. Bursting out into the night, she finds Andre, the man who tried to warn her. He tells her the truth that is far more disgusting than any ghost story. Decades ago, the house was owned by a man named Frank. He was a predator who kidnapped women and kept them in those tunnels, breeding with them over and over again. The mother isn't just a monster, she's the final broken result of generations of horrific inbreeding, a copy of a copy born and raised in the dark. She has spent 40 years in those tunnels, knowing nothing but the twisted version of family Frank taught her. Back in the house, AJ discovers Frank, now a withered old man living in a hidden room filled with VHS VHS tapes of his crimes. When AJ confronts him, Frank doesn't apologize, he just picks up a gun and ends his own life, leaving AJ to deal with the nightmare he created. Tess, driven by a misplaced sense of guilt, returns to the house to save AJ. She manages to incapacitate the mother with her car and heads back into the tunnels, but AJ, blinded by panic and his own selfishness, hears a noise and fires Frank's gun. He doesn't hit the monster. He shoots Tess. Even as she's bleeding out, AJ's true colors shine. He tries to act like the hero, but the moment they are cornered on top of a water tower by the mother, he makes a choice that defines him. He realizes the mother wants her baby, so he grabs the wounded Tess by her hair and hurls her off the tower, hoping the creature will jump after her and leave him alone. It's the ultimate betrayal. The mother doesn't hesitate. She leaps after Tess, using her own massive body to shield the girl from the impact. AJ climbs down, thinking he's the sole survivor, the good guy, who made a tough call. He finds Tess alive, cushioned by the broken body of the mother. He starts to apologize, to spin his web of lies again. But the mother isn't dead yet. With the last of her strength, she rises. Not for Tess, but for him. She reaches out and presses her thumbs into AJ's eyes, literalizing his blindness to his own cruelty, before splitting his head wide open. In the end, it's just Tess and the dying creature. The mother looks at Tess one last time, making a soft whimpering sound, calling her baby. She genuinely loved the only thing she knew how to love. But Tess knows this cycle of horror has to end. She picks up the gun, looks into those distorted eyes, and pulls the trigger. As the sun begins to rise over the ruins of Brightmoor, Tess walks away, the only one to survive a house built on decades of secrets. It makes you wonder, if you found a secret door in your own home tonight, would you be brave enough to open it, or would you be smart enough to run? Let me know in the comments if you think Tess did the right thing, or if the real monster of this story was the man who owned the house all along. Thanks for watching.